not in electronics to try to create new electronic stuff necessarily. I've already gotten my gold stars around being a maker. I
Mhm.
succeeded very successfully for over a decade at
Yeah.
people liking my shit. I don't need to prove myself, right?
Yeah.
I know I can make good stuff.
Mm.
So I have these stable jobs now that give me a little bit of flexibility, and I am very determined, like I'm seeing you do here, to make as many safe spaces as I can. I try to not have hubris around it. Like, I can only attract people who are kind of like me, so I'm not all that, you know, perfect for wide inclusivity or intersectionality, and I know that about myself, but I can touch the people who relate to me.
Well, and I think that that's the important thing about inclusion too, is that it takes all of us, right? Because different
Yes.
people will relate to different people. And
Yes.
so we should just anybody who thinks inclusion is important, just like get out there and do your thing
Yeah.
and draw in the people that respond to you. And,
Yeah.
obviously also be inclusive of other people who are not
Mhm.
like you.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, you know, obviously like somebody who is black or somebody who is Latina is probably not going to relate to me in the same way as they would, somebody else who is black or Latina. And like that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to support anybody and everybody like learning what the hell they want to learn
Mm.
and people with like similar senses of humor or interest or whatever just you know in like getting I guess reaching out to those people and just making them feel like included, like there's a place for them. So
Yeah, that's the
yeah,
trick, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I
Well,
feel
it's super
that.
interesting what you said about like getting the lay of the land in tech and realizing that there were positions in tech that you could totally freaking do that
Yep.
were like right up your alley because yeah, I think a lot of people looking in from the outside don't realize that and they
Nope.
don't know the scope of the jobs and work available. It's not all just, putting together schematics and doing board layouts.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yes,
it's an
exactly.
entire it like maybe that's the technical part of the product, but like there's a whole ecosystem around that product that
Mhm.
takes all sorts of different people with different skill sets to support it.
Mhm. Mhm. I feel that. I feel that in my bones. And yeah. Yeah. Oh, I have such feelings because at this point, I've been as wildly shut down as the next struggling, depressed person for the last 3 years. But I am starting to move in directions of like, I'm running a camp at my regional burner event this year for the second time. And I've made this camp just to make a safe space for as many people who feel non-technical as possible, and I think I'm okay at it. Like, I'm not gangbusters at it, but I'm okay at it because that's what I come from,
Mhm.
and I really understand it. And I also have no problem. This year, we're making this beautiful, big, colorful infographic about mansplaining.
Oh my god, I have to see this.
I know, I know,
I
and
love it already.
mm, yeah, because it's been a dance since I've gotten into this industry. I find these walls of what I can talk about and what I can't really fast as compared to places that I've worked before or running my own business. Like, I had a lot of agency, and now, like, I don't know, it's felt like I've hit a lot of walls, a lot of ceilings. Like, I can only be so expressive or like,
Mm,
yeah, it feels claustrophobic sometimes, and I don't know how much of that is that I've been in a pandemic and, like, I'm new to the industry and it's hard to find places that feel safe, but it's been rough, and so I'm trying to carve out my own spaces and, like, welcome people in emphatically with
yeah.
with interesting, like, more specific information and data. Like you pointed out, like, explaining just having a list of the types of jobs that I know exist in
Yeah.
tech, right?
Yeah.
Just, like, printing that out and putting it on the table. Or there's a great NPR article about how computer science became extremely gendered and women just dropped out of computer science, specifically in 19, I think it was 87, 84, 85. And they've been trying to figure out why, and, like, things have kind of gotten better for computer science, but, like, that happened and it affected an entire generation, my generation. And
Yeah. Yep.
and I just printed out that article and have it in my camp to be like, your experience that you maybe had is very real, and we a lot of us had it, and I had people cry in my camp, like a
Mhm.
variety of non-technical people just, like, show up and be like, "Oh my fucking god.
Yeah.
Thank you," right? So I'm hitting a nerve there
Mhm.
with all of that's part of my enthusiasm here is I'm like, I feel like I'm onto something.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's a lot of I mean, there's so many times I've heard, women in particular say that, like, "Oh, like, I wish I had taken some en like, I wish I had gone into engineering in school, or I wish I had taken some science classes," or something like that, and I feel like every time I hear that, it's with this undercurrent of, like, "And I missed this opportunity, and now it's too late." And
Yes.
I am really trying to be like, "No, it is not too late."
Yes.
You
I
can still
love
learn
that.
stuff. Like, you can absolutely learn stuff, and you don't need to go to school to do it.
Yes.
If you have an interest, if you have a drive, you can find a community doing something that you think is really cool, and
Yep.
dive into a project and start learning stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think people also it's also, at around the same time there started to be this decline of technical training and vocational studies, and God, stuff like that is so important. I mean, one of the most important things I learned in college in an engineering curriculum was using machine tools. Like, that was one of
Yep.
the most incredible, most important things that I learned was how to use a lathe and how to use a mill. And, like, that has helped me in so many ways throughout
Yep.
my life, and that is weird these days to have that as part of an engineering curriculum. It's like the exception to the rule, and
Sure.
so, yeah, and, like, I learned how to solder not from other engineers, but from technicians who had been soldering for a long, long time.
Mhm.
And yeah, and so I feel like there's almost like this whole generation, like our generation of people who kind of got pushed into this college path as being like book learning being the only way, the right way of doing things, when in fact there's a lot of knowledge that you can pick up in tech even through hands-on experience and hands-on
Yes.
education.
Very freaking much so. Yeah, over and over again, I find myself in situations where someone has academic experience, and that is this becomes such a problem because it's so venerated in technical interviews or like in like when people are trying to judge who's worthy. It's a game. It's all a game, right? And I find that my hands-on experience, I will doubt myself all the time. I just doubt myself, right? Because it's that thing. But then I find that having done it in real time myself ends up just being more applicable and more useful than a million other ways of going about it. Yes, agreed. And teaching myself, I learn socially and I learn like my own way. I tried to take 3 different online courses
Mhm.
around electronics and engineering. I learned a bunch, but I didn't finish any of them. Like I
Mhm.
it's
Yeah.
so hard to do that. It's not like being talked at is not my way of learning.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I feel you, and I do why I mentioned specifically that a couple of dudes really were key in getting me to go to a code boot camp is because 'cause I've heard that story many times where there's this, like, jump to make, and you need someone close to you that you're like, "Yes, they have the skills. They have the authority to be teaching me, and that, like, they have valuable knowledge." And that is it's such an intense game. It is so gendered, it's so ridiculous, it's so privileged, like so much of this culture and industry. And so I I don't know, I just find myself, like, pretty consistently coming back to trying to create my own onboarding resources for people because that both proves my technical expertise, it helps me learn, and it creates a new onboarding strategy for people to become interested in this kind of thing instead of, like, some guy being the authority.
Right?
Everything is just the universal story right now, and I'm really
Yeah.
over it.